You know, I wasn't. It reminded me of my time in New York playing for the Jets and also with the Dolphins and seeing them twice a year. And also playing in the AFC. And you know, when you go into Foxborough, you got to be near perfect to come out with a win. And I know Tom Brady isn't there. You know, before the game, you see him run out and run to the end zone and do his little fist pump with two other quarterbacks trailing. And then the muskets go off. And you're like, wow, that's Tom Brady. That's the GOAT. You know, but he's not there. Okay, but Bill Belichick is. And when Bill Belichick is there, you know exactly what you're going to get. You're going to get a well-prepared team. They're going to play great situational football. They're going to play great on special teams. They're not going to beat themselves. So when you saw Cam do that, I said, you know what, this could be interesting. But then when you looked on the other side of the ball, you had the Oakland Raiders turn it over 3 times. And that reminded me of a time when we were actually in Foxborough, when I was playing for the Jets. We had an opportunity to go up 2 scores and pretty much put them out of the game. And I had an opportunity to catch this back shoulder, which would have pretty much solidified the game. I dropped it. And I remember walking back to the sideline, sitting down and just thinking to myself, this game is over. I just blew the team. That was my opportunity to win the game, and I lost it. And people were looking at me like, Brandon, are you okay? And I was just in this deep haze because I was just thinking about that moment. And what happened? Tom Brady drove his team down, won the game, and then I was on the plane ride home, just so disappointed in myself. One of my lowest moments ever, because I had an opportunity to go in Foxborough and do something that's damn near impossible.
There's nothing better than going into a game and not having to do everything. And I think that's what Cam had you know, at his disposal yesterday. He didn't have to go out and be Superman. He didn't have to go out and throw 3 touchdowns. He didn't have to go and rush for 150 yards. It was a total team effort on both sides of the ball, and that's what you're going to get from the New England Patriots. And we always talked about the offense for the first, 3 weeks of the season. Now let's talk a little bit about the defense, because the Oakland Raiders and Derek Carr, they was hot. They was hot. They beat the New Orleans Saints, and they won in week 1. And they looked really good, and everybody was praising Gruden and the offense, and they come into Foxborough, and they didn't get it done. So it was the total team effort, if you ask me, and that's what Cam can benefit from. That's what this team is going to benefit from. That's why I got them as AFC contenders, and you got to take them serious.
Correct.
Wilds.
Yeah, buddy.
This right here, this is the benefit of having the GOAT coach. It's just, and it's irritating if you root for any other team. It's like, hey, Darren Waller, he's an unbelievable story. The best player on Monday Night Football.
Did he play
erased.
yesterday?
Might as well not, right. I mean, he did, but barely. Listen, I haven't been grinding Raiders tape, but Belichick and McDaniels obviously were, and guess what they figured out? This team is susceptible in the screen game, and they can't defend the run. So guess what? We're going to throw 1,000 of those annoying, stupid little screens to Burkhead. And we're going to hand the ball off to Sony Michel again and again. And we're not going to stop doing it. And this is what makes Belichick and McDaniels so good. There's no ego to it. It's like, do we need a second pitch? Well, let's see if they can hit the curveball first. And they just throw it again and again and again, and they wear you down. I mean, the Raiders were 2-0 coming off a win over the Saints, and they looked terrible, even though Cam didn't even play well. And it's just same old Patriots in a good way, and it's so irritating, Wilds. I'm just so done with it. It's because it's just irritating. It's just enough.
It's just a total masterpiece. A total masterpiece. You know what? There's a saying in New England: "Do your job." And that Cam Newton didn't have to go crazy. He didn't have to run for, 100 yards. Remember that commercial, the Michael Vick experience, Mike? You remember that commercial? You were in it? And you had to run through everything, and you're spinning around, and it's like the most chaotic thing. You're like, oh, my God. Imagine being Michael Vick on a day-to-day. You're like, buy these sneakers. They got Velcro on them. And I did. If there was a Cam Newton, Bill Belichick experience, just like, just hand the ball off. It'd be a very boring commercial, which is what we want. We ran for 250 yards. Rip Burkhead had 3 TDs. Nice and easy. Now, I don't want to jump too far ahead. I'm leaning back. That's why I'm so far back, everybody. Now, I'm interested in next week. We're going to start this week, Nick. I don't know if we want to have a bet of some sort, but we're headed to Arrowhead, and Bill Belichick's got his DVR set. Maybe even has probably has a DVR set. Watch this Chiefs game.
He might
so
even
whatever
watch
you
it.
guys plan on doing tonight, you're about to get Darren Waller yourself. Plan on you want Sammy Watkins to have a good game? Go ahead, because it's not going to happen on Sunday, my friend. I'm very excited.
Listen,
cheers, everyone.
I want to throw it back to Mike, because it's too early to talk Chiefs-Patriots, and the reason the Chiefs aren't the Raiders is you take away our Darren Waller, who's better than Darren Waller, Travis Kelce, and Tyreek Hill's still there to beat you. You take away Tyreek Hill and Sammy Watkins still there to beat you. We don't have to talk about the Chiefs part of it, but I'll let Mike go ahead on what because I thought Wild's point was a really interesting one, Mike, which is as the quarterback, when you don't have to do the full Mike Vick experience and you still win the game easily, it's got to be such a reassuring feeling going into every game.
I mean, some of my better games and better times in my career was when I didn't have to go and be, Superman, when I didn't have to go and win the game myself. And it gave me comfort in knowing that I don't have to go into next week and I don't have to put on a stellar performance because, at the end of the day, we all getting paid and we all professionals and somebody got to pick up the slack when it's a time of need. And, I used to lean on that sometimes, but, I always wanted to stay ahead of the schedule. I always wanted to try to keep us ahead of the 8 ball and, put points on the board to cover, and make sure that the defense was in a comfortable situation. But if it was the other way around, I would love it to have it that way too. So, it's a team game. And now we know, after watching yesterday's game, why Tom Brady has 6 rings and Bill Belichick together, because they beat the teams that they supposed to beat. They take advantage of, the things that teams don't do well and they exploit you. And that's what happens. So, anytime you got great coaching, at your disposal, you got to take advantage of it. You got to do what you need to do.
Yeah, and Cam is benefiting from that. I mean, for me, the only reason why I'm surprised that Cam kind of, took a step back is because of the showing that he had against Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks. Like, no one expected him to look like that. I know I didn't. Not because I don't believe in Cam, but because Cam took a year off. And because usually a guy like that, they hit mid-season stride around like week 6, week 7. So for him to come out in week 2 and look the way he did, that's why it was surprising to me to see him not as fluid in an offense. But to your point, Mike and Nick, when you have Bill Belichick and you have a total team around you, you can afford to have games like that. You can afford to have plays like that. And it wasn't like he played terrible. He just missed a few things. You go from being lights out. Yeah.
No,
he didn't lose the game.
It just speaks to, and it speaks to the Patriots, Jenna. We are talking about how great the offense looked against Seattle. They scored 30 against Seattle. We talked about how bad the offense looked yesterday. They scored 36 points. How the hell do you have that game? You scored 36 points. It didn't even look that good. I really don't like your team, Wilds. Thank God the Celtics found a way to underachieve again. I'd be really
I know
upset
it's too
this week.
soon, but it's going to be fun to preview a little Patriots-Chiefs coming up in week 4, but we'll pump the brakes on that just a second. Hey, guys, can we please toss yet another name in the hat for MVP this season? Aaron Rodgers making quite a case for himself in the early going. Packers,
Russell,
Saints, next. Yeah.